Pokemon Discord version. Arc 7, Part 4. Beneath the Shade. Siren City Chronicles. Aiden Monarch, Blythe Lightsworn, POV. The Arrival. Aiden and Blythe awakened bright and early in order to begin a short tutorial training session with their new Pokemon partners. They knew it would not be wise to travel with these young new Pokemon without at least seeing what they could do in battle.
Alright, we've come this far. Don't give up yet, Torchic. Use Ember one more time, then follow up with the Peck Attack.
Aiden said to Torchic as it does its best to try and attack Blythe's Charmander. Charmander, dodge it! Then use Scratch Attack! Blythe says to Charmander as it quickly dodges the Torchic's minimal fire and connects with Scratch. Torchic yelled out in pain as it fell back in the dirt yet again.
You can do it, Torchic! I believe in you! Please, little buddy, get up!
Aiden yelled, trying to inspire his weak Torchic. Charmander, finish this! Ember! Blythe yelled out as his Charmander shot a tiny but firm ball of flame at the Torchic, successfully finishing it off and winning the battle. It was obvious that the Charmander had more experience in battle than the Torchic, but Aiden loved it regardless.
You did better that time, buddy. Next time we'll get them back. That's a promise.
Aiden said to Torchic as he healed it with a potion and returned it to its Pokeball. Great job, Charmander. Your potential is golden, my friend. You're on the path to becoming a perfect Pokemon partner. Blythe says to Charmander, causing it to smile and jump up and down with excitement. Good fight, Aiden. Maybe next time. That's enough for now, though. I think these guys need a break, Blythe said as he returned Charmander to its Pokeball.
I agree. Plus, I think Anzu might be back soon. It's already been a couple of hours since we've been up. I wonder what's taking him so long.
Aiden says to Blythe. I don't know, but I say we give him another 10 minutes, and if he isn't back, by then, we should just go ahead and come up with our own plan on getting into Siren City. Who needs Anzu anyway? He isn't so tough, Blythe said with pride in his voice. Whoosh! Shivers. Whoa, it got super cold all of a sudden, huh? Blythe says as he shivers and feels a cold hand on his shoulder. Ah! Blythe yells out in fear as he whips around quickly and falls onto his back. You were saying, said Anzu as he appeared right as the boys were talking about him. Anzu, where have you been? You know how long we've been waiting here for you? Said Blythe as he quickly got up onto his feet trying to play it cool. Well, I'm here now, Anzu replied with the same cold tone as always. Now both of you pay attention because I'm only going to say this once, Anzu said to the boys as they focused their attention on his words. As expected, the city's going to be heavily guarded inside and out. There's a few recent incidents that have made them tighten security dramatically. Apparently a group of Team Rocket rebels was formed recently in order to defect from Team Rocket and leave the city quietly. Unfortunately, their plans were cut short because one of their members blew the whistle on them the same night of their defection. That said member was tricked and killed for his services. The rest of this rebellion was defeated and captured by a Team Rocket Citadel official named Warden Leander. This group calls themselves the Shade Operatives. Currently, they're all on the highest floor, locked up tight in the Siren City Prison Tower, or the SCPT lockdown, Anzu explained. So wait, the Shade Operatives were trying to leave Team Rocket? Blythe asked Anzu, cutting him off abruptly. No questions. For now, just listen. The Shade Operatives are led by a man named Colonel Silas Pence. He was one of the most respected and feared members of Team Rocket for a long time, until he created this rebellion. This man would be extremely beneficial to have on our side, as well as his remaining faction members. That's where you two come in. Here, put these on, Anzu says as he tosses a sack of armor and clothing on the ground in front of the boys. These are Team Rocket Siren City Guards, official armor and uniforms. Use them to get into the city. Right now, sneaking in would be impossible for you two, considering the current events. Warden Leander is a horrifically powerful member of the Citadel and was sent here to keep order within the city walls. You don't want to run in with him. It surely will end in death for you two. Use these uniforms to pose as guards for the time being. Your mission objective, in addition to breaching the city walls, is to infiltrate the SCPT lockdown and free Colonel Pence and the remaining Shade Operatives. Once you do that, recruiting them for our cause will be an easy task. The hard part will be getting into the SCPT itself. Those uniforms might grant you access to the city if you're lucky, but they won't grant you access to the SCPT itself. The prison tower guards are issued with a different set of uniforms and armor. Get into the city and get your hands on 2 of those SCPT guard uniforms. I'll provide more recon after you complete your current goals. One last thing. Being dressed as a guard won't be enough for you to get into the gates. You'll have to provide a password that's constantly changing depending on the day. Today's passwords are as follows: Fire Ghost and Dark Dragon. Now, you know your mission. Are there any questions? And do not make me regret asking that, said Anzu to the boys. Blythe went to bombard Anzu with an onslaught of questions just as Aiden quickly puts his hand over Blythe's mouth and says,
Thank you for the reconnaissance, Anzu. Our mission is clear to us now, and we won't let you down. See you in Siren City, my friend.
Blythe snatches Aiden's hand away from his mouth and says,
What gives, Aiden?
Aiden continues to look at Anzu and pays no attention to Blythe. Anzu disappears in an instant as his voice carries over and says, Go now. Complete your tasks. I'll be in touch with you both. Oh, and Blythe, your brother Ephraim was looking for you. He's in the city right now continuing his search. Just thought I'd let you know. Blythe responds quickly and says, Ephraim? Father sent Ephraim? Of course he did. Of course he would send his star pupil and favorite son. Pfft, Ephraim's not so great. In fact, when I see him, I'm gonna challenge him to a battle. Then we'll see who's better. That'll show that smug piece of shit who's boss. Ha ha! Blythe has always been made to feel inferior to Ephraim, but he now refuses to live in Ephraim's shadow any longer. Pfft, good luck with that, kid. Anzu's sarcastic voice carries over and finally dissipates. The boys then geared up and got ready to go, trying on their new guard uniforms and armor. Blythe's armor did fit just fine, however, Aiden's was just a little too big on him. Wow, Aiden, that uniform's a little big on you, huh? Blythe asked Aiden playfully.
Do you think that they'll really believe that I'm a Team Rocket guard?
Aiden asked reluctantly. Yeah, man. You'll pass as a guard for sure. I'm sure they have 12-year-old guards in Siren City. Blythe teases Aiden.
I'm 13, Blythe. Come on, man, I'm being serious. If I can't pull this off, then we'll never make it into the city.
Aiden whines. Relax, Aiden. We're gonna be just fine. If they ask, I'll just say you're my son or something and you're in training. Blythe says, still joking around.
Everything's just a huge joke to you. Can't you just be serious just this once?
Aiden says, annoyed. Seriously though, Aiden, don't worry. No one will ask questions if we carry ourselves the right way. It's all about having charisma, you know? Being a smooth operator, knowing how to talk to people. You just sit back and let me do the talking. I'll make sure we get in no problem, Blythe says to Aiden. The boys then traveled the remainder of the way through the volcanic plains and made it to the gates of Siren City.
Whoa, it looks a lot bigger being face to face with it,
Aiden said as the boys looked up at the great steel walls of Siren City. Yeah, no kidding, Blythe said to Aiden as he began to bang on the gates. Bang, bang, bang.
Who goes there?
A voice from the speaker asked the boys. Hey, bud. Just a couple of guards returning to Siren City. Would you kindly open up the gate for us, sir? Blythe said to the speaker.
What are the types of the day? Quickly!
The voice said through the speaker. Yes, sir. That'll be Fire Ghost and Dark Dragon, Blythe replied with haste.
Okay, I'm opening the gates now. Hurry and get inside.
The voice says to the boys as the gates begin to open slowly, shaking the ground as they open. Aiden's thoughts.
I can't believe that worked. I guess Blythe does have a silver tongue after all. Awesome!
Aiden thinks to himself as they walk into the city past a massive amount of Team Rocket officials that eyed them down, but paid only little attention to them as they walked.
Stay cool, Aiden. Follow my lead,
Blythe whispered to Aiden as they made their way deeper into the city. They looked around at the giant city and made their way through the city streets, seeking out the SCPT lockdown. Bump! Aiden accidentally bumped into a guard as they walked. Hey! Watch where you're going, you little bitch! Said the disgruntled guard to Aiden.
Sorry, sir,
said Aiden to the guard. Wait a minute! Aren't you a little young to be a guard? I don't recognize you! Who the hell are you, kid? The guard questioned Aiden as a couple other guards walked over, curious about the situation. Aiden stammered, trying to reply, but was at a loss of words. He's with me. I'm Zervian, and this is my little brother, Vex. Yeah. We're new to Team Rocket, and we just graduated being grunts. They sent us to Siren City for additional training. Sorry about my brother. Between you and me, he's a little slow in the head. He's got this rare illness that causes his mind to drift off a little from time to time, so he can't really pay attention to his surroundings as well as others, Blythe said, trying to take control of the situation. Huh? This kid's handicapped or something? Well, you need to watch him better. He could have gotten himself killed bumping into a guard like that, said the guard to Blythe. So sorry, good sir. We'll just be on our way now. Have a great day. Bye-bye, Blythe said as they quickly scurried off, just narrowly escaping a daunting fate. We've been walking around for a while, Blythe. I don't think we're just going to find this place by looking. It's a prison tower, so it's bound to be in a remote location somewhere in this huge city. We should just ask someone, Aiden says to Blythe. How do you suppose we do that, Aiden? Just waltz up on someone and be like, "Excuse me, sir, do you happen to know where the most secure prison in the city is being hidden?" We can't ask anyone. We're just going to have to find it on our own. We can't raise any more suspicion than we already have by being here in the first place. To be honest, I don't even know how we made it past all of those rocket officials with you looking like you just got out of daycare. Lady Luck must really be on our side. Blythe says to Aiden, continuing to joke around and make light of a dim situation. Aiden smiles slightly and begins to feel a little better about things because of Blythe's undying humor. Let's just keep going. I'm sure we'll stumble onto a clue eventually, Blythe said to Aiden. They continued down the streets of Siren City, visiting markets and weapon outlets, arming themselves with gear and restocking their supplies. Blythe carried plenty of gold to support both him and Aiden in anything they needed, and then some. Though Blythe knew he wouldn't be able to do any huge spending considering they wanted to remain undercover, so they only got what they needed. Thanks, Blythe. Man, these new daggers are crazy sharp, and there's so many of them. I really appreciate this, buddy, Aiden says to Blythe, admiring his new throwing daggers as he added them to his inventory. No sweat, bro. I take care of my people. No need to thank me, buddy. Just keep watching my back the way you have been and we'll be square, okay? Blythe says to Aiden as he looks at him with a wide grin. It seems the boys were able to successfully blend into the city as guards, for no one questioned them at all as they carried on through the streets. They stopped at a food stand at the very end of this road that wasn't as busy as the other streets they were previously on to get a bite to eat before continuing their search. Oh man, is that actual slowpoke tail? Aiden, we gotta try some. My father talks about this stuff all the time. He told me that slowpoke tail is a delicacy all over Agoria. It's expensive, but worth every penny. You down? Blythe says to Aiden, as excited as ever. Slowpoke tail? Is that the actual tail of the slowpoke? Why would anyone do that to them? That's just messed up, man, Aiden says to Blythe, disgusted. Bro, people eat Pokemon all the time. Pokemon even eat each other. It's just a circle of life, man. But hey, if you're good on the slowpoke tail, then more for me, I guess. Oh man, I am so freaking excited, Blythe replied as he approached the food stand to purchase himself a slowpoke tail to eat. One slowpoke tail, please, Blythe said to the grimy-looking food merchant who stared with almost no expression on his face. The merchant prepares a cooked slowpoke tail on a stick and says, "That'll be 1,200 gold." Jingle, jingle, jingle. Blythe rummages through his sack of gold and hands the merchant his coins and takes the slowpoke tail with haste. Aiden looks sickened by the sight of the slowpoke tail. Aiden's never eaten anything like that before in his life and wasn't about to start now. Are you really gonna eat that, man? That's disgusting, Aiden said to Blythe. I just spent 1,200 gold on it, bro. Of course I'm gonna eat it. Plus, when else are we gonna run into a food stand with delicious slowpoke tails? Never. That's when. Chomp! Blythe replies to Aiden as he chomps into the slowpoke tail. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Oh man! Munch, munch. Oh man! Munch. Aiden, You have no idea what you're missing, bro. Slowpoke Tail certainly lives up to the legend. Too bad you're too much of a wimp to eat any. Blythe says to Aiden as he finishes his meal as they continue walking.
I'm not a wimp. I just don't condone Pokemon cruelty is all. I mean, come on, man. Little Slowpokes are just too adorable to me. I don't even know how you can eat that, bro.
Aiden says to Blythe.
Ah, that was delicious.
Blythe says as he tosses his clean skewer into the dirt. Aiden just looks at Blythe with a disgusted look on his face and keeps walking. Hey Aiden, do you see that over there? Those two guys are guards, but they're dressed differently from us. They must be SCPT guards, and they're all alone. They must be walking back into the prison tower now. Let's tail them. Follow my lead, Blythe says as he notices the two SCPT guards walking and conversing with each other, oblivious to their surroundings. Blythe and Aiden slowly made their way to the side of the street where the two guards walked, only leaving about 15 feet of space between them and the guards. Just act natural. Let's follow them until we reach the SCPT, Blythe whispered to Aiden as Aiden nodded in agreement. The boys walked and remained undetected for the whole duration as they stalked the two SCPT guards. They listened in on their conversation, for the two guards were unaware they were being shadowed.
I told you we should have stayed away from that place, man. I knew it was bad news from the moment we walked in. Now look, we frickin' show up late to the final round fight, and everyone is dead. Heads blown up all over the place, said the first guard to the second guard.
Yeah, man, you were right about that place all along. I don't know what did that to all of them, but I'm just glad we were late and didn't end up among them. Shivers. It creeped me out just thinking back to walking into that cellar and seeing all those corpses, said the second guard.
Yeah, well, maybe you should listen to me more. Could save your life,
said the first guard. Yeah, okay. I'll put my life in the hands of the guy who mistook that male prostitute for a woman. Not a chance, bro. We've been partners for a long time. You're forgetting who you're talking to, said the second guard. Blythe and Aiden looked at each other confused and disgusted.
Whoa. If I recall correctly, you thought he was a woman too, bro.
What a fun night that was, said the first guard. Oh yeah, that's right. What a couple of drunk idiots we were that night. A fun night indeed, said the second guard while laughing wildly. At this point, they had been walking for a while now. Blythe and Aiden grew tired of the guards' conversation and quite frankly felt more disturbed than annoyed. In the distance, they could make out a giant tower that looked different from the rest of the steel-based skyscrapers that lined the city streets. This tower looked more ominous. Unlike the other buildings, this one was not designed for luxury. Not only that, but it had a large steel gate that surrounded it on all sides. This gate also had barbed wire that lined the top of it and had high-voltage electricity running through every chain link. The two guards walked up to the gate and stopped outside of it, as if they were supposed to be guarding the exterior.
Follow me,
Blythe whispered to Aiden as they dashed into the shadows, trying to stay hidden from the guards. The boys pressed themselves against the building that was beside the prison fence, so they were flat against the wall as Blythe peeked around the corner to watch the guards' movement. They only continued to converse and laugh as they smoked cigarettes outside of the gate.
What are we gonna do, Blythe? We need those uniforms,
Aiden whispered to Blythe.
We need to make sure that there's no other guards in the area,
Blythe replied.
I have an idea,
Aiden says to Blythe as he quietly summons Golbat.
Golbat, keep quiet and survey the area for any other guards, okay, buddy?
Aiden says to his Golbat. Golbat then flew upward and checked out the surrounding area. Moments pass by as the boys are waiting for the Golbat to return. They are subject to listening to the rest of the guards' conversation.
Do you remember that one tavern we went into yesterday with the dead guy?
Said the first guard. No, I forgot. Of course I remember, you dunce. It happened yesterday. Plus, that shit was pretty visceral too, said the second guard.
Not as visceral as the battle cellar though. I don't think anything could top that,
said the first guard. Yo, you remember to report that like we decided, right? Because I totally forgot until now, said the second guard.
Oh, shit. No, I thought you reported that, bro,
said the first guard. Facepalm. Bro, So you're telling me there's a fucked up killer running around this city, just murdering random people in the most fucked up of ways, and we're the only ones who know about it? Said the second guard.
Yeah, pretty much,
Said the first guard. Golbat finally returned to the boys and confirmed with them that there were no other enemies in the area besides the 2 gate guards, who luckily were clearly not the brightest guards in the city.
Great job, buddy,
Aiden said to Golbat as he nodded to Blythe, signaling that it was safe to take the guards out. Okay, Aiden, we gotta do this quietly, so no boom blades, okay? Blythe said as Aiden nodded in agreement. Aiden equipped himself with 2 daggers that he held tightly in his hands. You flank left and I'll flank right, okay? Blythe said to Aiden.
Blythe, I have an idea. It'll be quiet, trust me,
Aiden said to Blythe as he signaled for his Golbat to lift him up. Unlike when it was a Zubat, Golbat was big enough to lift Aiden into the air for a short amount of time while Aiden held on to its legs.
You ready, Golbat?
Aiden asked as he grabbed onto the legs of Golbat and began to run up the side of the building they were pressed against until he was able to grab onto a surface he could climb on. As Aiden clung to the side of the wall, he was about 35 feet in the air looking down at the 2 guards as Golbat flew overhead, ready to assist Aiden.
Wow, great job, man, that's genius,
Blythe said to himself as he watched what Aiden would do next. Aiden then counted to 3 and jumped from the building's wall towards the guards.
Whoa, what are you doing?
Blythe asked, worried for his friend. As Aiden fell down, Golbat descended with him, allowing Aiden to grab onto its legs once more, creating a sort of gliding parachute effect.
Take this,
Aiden says as he approaches the guards. The guards both stop abruptly and look up in confusion at the child that was falling from the sky. He lets go of Golbat and lunges at the guards, falling onto them with 2 heavy dagger thrusts into the tops of their heads, instantly killing them without a sound.
Aiden, that was fucking awesome!
Blythe yelled in excitement as he ran up to Aiden.
Great job, Golbat! Return!
Aiden said as he returned Golbat to its Pokeball.
Thanks, Blythe. I told you it would be quiet.
He said to Blythe proudly. You never cease to surprise me, Aiden. Time and time again. Blythe says as he and Aiden high-five and proceed to strip the guards down and take their uniforms. After changing into the SCPT armor, they realize they need to hide the bodies of the 2 naked guards quickly. Alright, Aiden, grab that one and I'll grab this one. Let's move, Blythe said to Aiden as they began to drag the bodies away from the gate and into a dark alleyway, and went on to throw them into a nearby dumpster bin. There we go. No one will find them here, Blythe said as he and Aiden both looked at each other in their new armor. Aiden, you're lucky that guy was tiny. Your armor fits way better than that last uniform. I mean, that guard was smaller than I am. I bet this armor would be small on me. Blythe said to Aiden. Aiden looked down at his new armor and felt a lot better now that it fit him properly. Shut up, Blythe. Aiden said as they both laughed and walked towards the gates of the SCPT. Whoosh! Shivers. So you found the place okay, I see. Anzu's voice suddenly appeared from out of nowhere and made both boys jump as well as shiver with the appearance of his black flames that seemed to emit a freezing cold instead of heat.
Anzu, there you are! You should have seen it! I used Golbat and I ran up the building and then I flew off of it and glided down!
Aiden said, exploding with excitement as Anzu cuts him off and says, Yeah, kid, I saw the whole thing. You forget, I'm always watching. Aiden stopped talking and shivered in Anzu's cold presence. Blythe, for the first time in his life, was speechless. This is the Siren City prison tower lockdown. Within these walls made of pure steel, you will find thousands of prisoners in the 100-story building before you. Anzu paused for a moment, just to make sure the boys were paying attention, and pointed to the top of the SCPT. The top floor is where Colonel Pence and the Shade operatives are being held. It has some of the highest level security in all of Agoria. Being young and inexperienced looking, you two won't be able to pass as top floor guards. Only the elite are selected for that position. The top floor is also where you'll find Warden Leander's office. I did a little sleight of hand trick on the brute and managed to find this. Anzu then tossed Aiden a brass golden brown skeleton key. That key will grant you access to anywhere in the tower. Use it wisely.
As for these gates, a different key is required.
Anzu gently touches the front gates of the SCPT as they began to rust rapidly and look weaker as every moment goes by, as if Anzu was using his energies to corrode the gates and open them for the boys.
That's the key right there. Go now. Make your way into the tower and remember to stay out of sight for the most part. If Warden Leander sees your faces, he'll know damn well that you aren't a part of his elite task force. So make yourself scarce while treading through the prison. Good luck to you both.
Anzu disappears in an instant like always, only this time his voice does not carry over. The rusted steel gate creaked loudly as it opened up for the boys on both sides. Well, Aiden, you ready to do this, man? Blythe asked. I'm ready, Aiden replied. The boys walked fearfully in through the gates and found themselves in the outer layer of the SCPT courtyard. To the boys, it seemed like a giant maze before them that had no obvious path for them to follow, only multiple routes that inevitably led to dead ends or around in circles. What is this place? Blythe said, aggravated. I guess this is meant to keep the prisoners from escaping or something, Aiden replied, or to keep people from breaking prisoners out, because it's doing a damn good job of that right now, Blythe said, still angry at the endless maze they were forced to walk. You know, Anzu spends a whole lot of time doing all this research and recon for us. He could have warned us about this bullshit maze, Blythe yelled, now infuriated. Calm down, man. We'll make it out of this. That's a promise, Aiden said, trying to cheer Blythe up. How can you promise that, Aiden? We've been walking for like 20 minutes now, man. There's got to be an easier way to do this. Come on, Aiden. Use that genius brain of yours, Blythe said to Aiden in hopes of a quick-witted plan. Hey, I have an idea. How about you climb this wall using your secrets of nature, and I'll use Golbat to get up there with you, and we'll just go over this whole maze, Aiden said to Blythe. That's not gonna work, Aiden. That'll completely blow our cover, man. You don't think the warden will just notice us running along the tops of these walls? We'll be made real quick if we do that shit, man. Come on, Aiden. I thought you were smarter than that, Blythe said to Aiden.
Mime.
Suddenly, as Blythe and Aiden were speaking, they heard a voice that sounded unintelligible and eerie. Huh? What was that? Said Blythe as they looked down the long path in front of them and noticed the same bloody Mr. Mime from the nameless cavern standing at the edge of the path. Oh my god, looks like your friend followed us, Aiden. We need to get away from this thing now. Mr. Mime is not a being to trifle with. Run! Blythe yelled as the boys peeled off into the opposite direction of Mr. Mime. The Mr. Mime walked towards them slowly, with contorted poses and eerie movements, while it made unnerving clicking sounds with its mouth. Ah! Aiden and Blythe yell as they try to get as far from the bloody craven as possible. Did we lose him? Aiden asks as they stop to catch their breath. I think so, Blythe replied, out of breath.
Mime.
Suddenly, the Mr. Mime appeared again only feet away from them, this time with wider eyes and a tighter grin that pulled from both sides of its horrifying face. Its teeth were still as yellow as ever and covered in blood and chunks of flesh. The boys were now face to face with the craven creature and were almost paralyzed with fear.
Mime.
It made the same eerie croaking sounds as it approached. Yeah! Blythe quickly charges his energies and delivers a swift but heavy kick to Mr. Mime, but in an instant the clown disappears into thin air, only narrowly avoiding Blythe's attack. Where did it go? I'm gonna kill that thing once and for all! Fuck you, Mr. Mime! You'll die here, you pussy! Blythe yelled at the now absent Mr. Mime, hoping to scare it off. Blythe, calm down! Don't make it mad! I don't think it wants to fight. Think about it. If it can teleport like we just witnessed, and it's been following us, don't you think if it wanted to kill us, it would have done so already? Aiden asked, raising a good point. No, it just wants to mess with our heads and play games with us to fill us with fear. Then once we're all primed up with terror, it'll eat our souls right from our bodies, Blythe said to Aiden with horror in his voice. I'm just saying, maybe we shouldn't jump the gun, Blythe. Maybe it wants to be our friend, Aiden said, trying to convince Blythe. Aiden, that's super dumb, man. Mr. Mime is a horrifying menace of a creature that needs to be disposed of. That thing is only out to get us, man, Blythe said to Aiden.
You said the same thing about Anzu, and he's helped us more than anyone has. You seem more paranoid than ever, Blythe. Just relax a little so you can think clearly. That's all I'm saying, man.
Aiden said to Blythe. Ugh. Okay, I admit you were right about Anzu, but I know for a fact that Mr. Mime is not our friend, Aiden. Let's just keep going, okay? We need to keep moving so we can make it out of this courtyard while there's still daylight, Blythe says to Aiden.
Okay, let's go. I think we ran far enough to make it through these next 2 sections. I can see the tower again. We're getting close, Blythe. Let's go!
Aiden said to Blythe. The boys ran as far as they could and finally made it out of the courtyard maze. They were now face to face with the sturdy steel doors of the SCPT. Aiden took the key from his pocket and unlocked the doors. The heavy doors creaked loudly as Aiden and Blythe finally made their way inside.